Hi. Today I wanted to give you an update on what has been going on between me and my son. There's been some texting that has happened over the last week or two. I would say 10 days, the last 10 days. It all revolves around the blanket that I'm making for my granddaughter. Some interesting things that I noticed with my son that is new, a new behavior. I looked inward at my motives. My motives are good, but maybe some fears that I have. And I wanted to share it because this is all new to me, as far as this is uncharted waters for me. The communication again between my son and myself. So I wanted to give you an update on that. So I hadn't heard anything from him, and I'm making this blanket for my granddaughter. I'm making all the squares. I'm going to start sewing them up together to actually form the blanket. And so I was going to put like a big S on it and on top of the blanket because her name starts with S. And so anyway, I reached out again. He didn't reach out to me, but I wanted to let him know that I was still doing the blanket because he hadn't asked, and weeks had gone by. I think the last time I had heard from him or I texted him was around Father's Day, which was in June. So I text him, hope you're doing well. I just want to let you know I'm still working on the blanket. And that's all I said. And he texts me back, oh, I thought you forgot. And I text back, no, I couldn't forget that. So he texts me back again, she stopped asking for it. Can you tell me, how far along you are on it, how much you got done? Can you send me a picture? So I got all my squares together and I put it on the bed, and I was about half done at the time. So I showed him a picture, and I hadn't sewed anything with this big S, but I had this big S and it looked like a snake, so I'm forming it like a big S on top of the squares, So I sent him a picture, and he told me the size. He says you can do it, about 40 by 60. She's not that big. She's, 6. And I said, okay, 40 by 60. So he took one look at that picture and he said, you are going way overboard. You don't need to put that S and whatever else he thought I had put on a heart. And he said, you don't have to do that. You're going way overboard. You're making it hard on yourself. And so I saw immediately old patterns coming up, right? He's criticizing me. And I said, I don't have to put the S on it if you don't want. I said, I knew you would find fault. And yes, I did text that. I knew you would find fault. And he sent me a picture of, I guess, her bed, what is on her bed. And there is like a crocheted type of blanket on there. And I said, well, who made that one? And he said, I don't know who made it, but she loves it and she won't let it go. That's why I wanted you to make her a blanket. I said, well, what is wrong with the one I'm making? And I couldn't believe it. I was waiting for, now his old behavior, right, would be, never mind, forget it, don't make it. You always have to go overboard, or this, that, and the other. I'll have somebody else make it, which, would make me feel horrible. He didn't say any of that. He said, there's nothing wrong with the one you're making. It's nice, but you don't have to put her name on it. And I said, I can do that. I cannot put the S on. And I told him the only way, I said, how that S came about, which is true. I don't want to hear all this, but you're going to hear it anyway. I had ordered my yarn online, And I didn't really look at the size, of the yarn. So I ordered this thick green yarn. When I ever got it, it's like a fluorescent green, but it's thick. It's like that, like thick like a rope, and it's not anything I could crochet or knit. So I said, that's how that came about. I ordered the wrong yarn. And I said, but I will definitely leave the S off. So he texts me back, okay, he said, maybe you could use the green yarn as a border for the blanket. And I said, what a good idea. I said, I can do that. So, like, we didn't end up in a big fight. We didn't end up, with him lashing out at me and me trying to defend myself, which, never goes well. And it was like, okay, I will do that. Thank you. And it was like, what just happened? What just happened? Well, let me tell you what happened. This has been my theory all along. He's not with that woman anymore. I know he's not with that woman anymore. And now it's safe to talk to me. It's safe to text me. He doesn't have to start an argument with me. That was my gut feeling all along. And again, I don't know 100%, but he's kind of proving to me that this is what is going on. Because he's starting to act like the son I used to have, He's starting to act like the son I used to have. And I try to read all your comments. I really am getting flooded with them, and I love it. And I feel like I'm never quite caught up, but I'm continuing to read them all. So please keep sending them in and keep, commenting. But I have seen comments where you're having the same situation where when your daughter or son got divorced, all of a sudden they're back in your life again. Like, okay, that person, whoever they were married to, did not want them around, didn't want you guys around. That's why you're not around. I just think it's so strange because that's just not how my mind works. It never has been. I would be forever without a boyfriend/husband. Of course, I have been single a lot of my life, but I mean, I'm not saying you have to worship my parents, but you have to respect the fact that they're my parents. And yes, you're gonna see them a few times a year. You know what I mean? Like in our house. Other times I could go to them and you don't have to come with me. But they're my parents and I love them. I love them. And I would not give up my parents for anybody. Friend, romantic interest, spouse, anybody. I just wouldn't do that. But apparently there's a lot of people that will, and maybe they're not strong enough. Maybe, I am coming to realize that I am a stronger person than I ever thought that I was. And I am realizing this about myself. So maybe the people that wouldn't do that actually stand up for themselves, are the strong people. And the ones that are, and I know when you're in love and you want to plan a life with somebody, it's hard. It's hard, especially if the other person is more dominating. So I'm not forgiving it. Am I forgiving it? I'm not making I forgive him. But I'm not making excuses for him. I don't think that's the way anybody should act about. You shouldn't have to give up family members for your husband or wife. I just don't think you should. Or boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. You should not have to do that. It's ridiculous. It's like if somebody, and I had this happen before, either the cats go or I go. I had 3 cats at the time. This was years ago, and this was a boyfriend. And I said, well, there's the door, because I choose the cats. Haha, he never did leave anyway. But that was, yes, that did happen. And I wasn't going to get rid of my animals. If he, I know they're annoying, but I shouldn't have had 3, but I did. Anyway, I digress. That's a whole nother story of me, the crazy cat lady, I guess. But anyway, now I just have 1. No dogs, 1 cat. But anyway, so that's what's been going on. That's the situation I find myself in. And I am leaning towards my gut feeling was correct. My gut feeling was correct. She didn't want me around, and he was like, okay, she won't be around. And he literally broke off and he ruined, that's the thing of it. He really ruined a lot of our relationship, because as mother and son, we had been close. But I can't change that, whatever we have in store. And I do have a fear, and I don't know how I feel about this, and I'm trying to be positive. I don't want to be negative, but I do worry that when this blanket is finished and I mail it off to him, is that the end of our communication? I certainly will send him now, which I haven't been in the past, but I will start sending him holiday salutations, text him Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas. I know I will do those things, but will we keep texting? I don't know. I don't know. Bottom line is, maybe he just needed me for this. And if he doesn't need me for something, I can go back into the drawer or back on the shelf. I don't know. I guess time will tell. But I wanted to give you guys the update. And blanket's coming along. It's going to be done pretty soon. And I will show you a picture when it's completed before I mail it off to him. So, yeah. So that's what's going on. And chin up. We keep moving forward. That's all we can do. I hope things in your life are good. And I hope you're making them as good as you can. And do something nice for yourself today, because you deserve it. And I love you all. Thanks for the comments. Keep them coming. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Alrighty. Take care. Bye.